Okay, I'm going to put a little chalk block in the front, make sure the car doesn't move too much. Then we're going to come over here and we're going to remove the cap off of the rear wheel. And I'll also place the emergency brake on. At this point in time, before we lift the car up, I'm going to go ahead and break the lug nuts loose. All right, the lug nuts are loose, so let's go ahead and lift up the car. All right, I utilize the jacking point as the owner's manual states. And at this point in time, I'm going to put a jack stand underneath the car just for additional safety. Okay, now we're ready to take off the wheel. All right, now let's remove the wheel. Oh, these are so light. So we removed the rear passenger wheel. Now we have access to the oil filter and the surrounding areas. Now there's different methods and ways to do oil changes on the NSX, but I personally prefer this because, as you could tell, there's a lot of access and I just think it's easier. So you're ordering all those cool items on Amazon. What do you do with the boxes? Well guys, right there. So what I like to do is I like to put a used box underneath the area that I'm doing an oil change so I could catch any oil or anything that falls in the ground to make it easy cleanup. What I did also is I put a drip pan underneath there. It's just a generic one from Advanced Auto Parts and to catch the oil. So let's go ahead and undo this oil filter and let's get going. All right, so what I like to do is I like to see it spin a little bit before I put my hands on it. All right, so as you can see there, it's dripping on the suspension. That's fine, we're gonna let it do that because I'll clean it up here later. So what I'm doing is I'm loosening up the oil pan drain bolt with the 17mm. And letting that oil go. And I'm also positioning the drip pan so it can cover the oil pan and the oil filter. You want to push back the oil pan a little farther back because as there's oil, the stream that's pouring out is slowly going to move towards the front of the car. So you want to make sure that that oil pan is going to be there to catch it once the stream starts moving closer to the front of the car. Okay, let's go ahead and do the drain bolt. As you can see, it has the old washer on here. Sometimes they're stuck on here, but this one looks like it's easy to take off. And it's off. All right. Flat side is going to go on the washer head. Beveled side against the oil pan so it could crush. All right, that's going to be ready to install when we go install it. Okay, so we have our OEM oil filter. It's in the wrapper. Let's go ahead and prep that for installation. What I'm going to do is I like to check it, just make sure that the gasket's on there and that there's no foreign debris inside there. It looks good. All right, now I'm going to do the cap. I got just a little bit of oil on the cap, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spread it around. You don't need a lot. All right, so we have our drain plug ready to go, and we have our oil gasket ready to go. We're going to go ahead and put our oil filter on. So we're going to go ahead and put this drain plug in. What I like to do is I like to make sure that I put it in correctly and I hand tighten it down. And at that point in time, I'm going to move everything I need to move so I can get a torque wrench in there. Now it's time to torque the oil drain plug bolt. What we're going to do is, based on the service manual, we're doing 33 foot-pounds. we have our torque wrench here. So we're going to go ahead and set it up at the foot-pounds. And we're going to go ahead and we'll go over to 33. Now, I've done this before. 33 seems a little tight, but it does get the job done. All right, we're at 33. I'm going to double check. We're good. Takes a 17 millimeter bolt, of course, and we're ready to go. Okay. We heard that click. That verifies the torque has been met. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some brake cleaner, right? The thing about brake cleaner is you don't want to spray it on a manifold or something like that. It is combustible, but also the fumes are bad for you. But it's a great cleaner and a great solvent. So what I'm going to do is the area where I dropped the oil, I'm going to go ahead and clean it off. And I'm personally going to step away so the fumes could go away, and we'll come back to it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put the wheel back on. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and tighten the lug nuts. We're going to do it in the appropriate 5-lug start pattern, and it's going to be 80 foot-pounds as per the service manual. All right, and then we're going to put our cap back on. Okay, now it's time to put the oil in. Let's remove the filler cap. And we're going to put a funnel in there. Make sure we don't make a mess. It's always tricky putting oil in, if you ask me. All right, oil is not like brake fluid, it's not corrosive, but we don't want to make a mess. And we're going to put the cap back on. So that wraps up our oil change. Guys, I think that the oil change on the NSX is pretty enjoyable. It's straightforward. I hope you guys learned something. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. If you have any questions for me, please use the About section on the channel. Reach out and I'm more than happy to help you. Well, as always, we always have great videos coming up with the cars and just the car life in general. You guys stay safe, stay tuned, and we'll talk to you soon.